Hello students, today we are going to start the fourth chapter of chemistry, and that is atomic structure. Now you all know what is an atom, isn't it? An atom is the smallest indivisible particle of an element which may or may not exist independently but takes part in chemical reaction. But later on it was found that atoms are divisible. So the three subatomic particles present in an atom are electrons, protons and neutrons. An atom is electrically neutral as it contains tiny particles each carrying a positive or a negative charge which balance each other, making an atom electrically neutral. Now let's see the atomic structure. So this is the atomic structure. This central part is called as the nucleus, where two subatomic particles are present. The red colored balls represent proton and the blue colored balls, they represent the neutron. And then you can see the electrons, they move around the nucleus in different cells or orbits. Now let's move to the atomic model. So the first scientist to propose the atomic model was Sir John Dalton. So he proposed that atoms are small indivisible particles. They can't be divided, created, destroyed, and the atoms of an element are all identical, and different elements have different types of atoms which have different properties, and atoms of different elements combine to form compounds. For example, one atom of sodium combines with one atom of chlorine to form one molecule of sodium chloride. Okay, so these are the main points. Matter is made up of small indivisible atoms. Atoms can't be subdivided, created or destroyed. Atoms of the same element have the same property, but atoms of different elements have different properties. Atoms of different elements can form compounds, as I gave you the example of sodium chloride. The next model is plum pudding model, okay, which was proposed by J.J. Thomson. So you can see here, it's called plum pudding model because it looks like a pudding. So he found that an atom consists of positive charges as well as negative charges. You can see the atom, inside the atom the positively charged sphere is distributed uniformly, and then you can see the negative charged particles embedded on it. Okay, so he said an atom is electrically neutral because of this. Okay, and negatively charged particles are fixed in the positive sphere just like a pudding or a cake. So these are his assumptions. That is, an atom is electrically neutral. In an atom, both positive charges and negative charges are equal, and an atom is made out of a sphere of positive charges. That means a sphere of positive charge which is spread uniformly with negatively charged electron embedded in it. Okay, so the next atomic model was proposed by none other than Lord Rutherford. Okay, so you can see his model. He said that atoms are mainly have empty space. Positive charge is concentrated at the center of the atom, also called as the nucleus, as you can see in the figure, and the center of the atom so can be called as the nucleus, and electrons move around the nucleus. Now for this he carried out an experiment which is popularly known as Rutherford's alpha particle scattering experiment. Now what are alpha particles? They are doubly charged helium ions. So he bombarded a thin sheet of gold. You can see how much thin is it. 0.4 times 0.4 centimeter thickness. Okay, with alpha particles in an evacuated chamber. So you can see these are the beam of alpha particles. Okay, and this is the gold foil. Now what do you see? Most of the rays, they have passed straight through. Then few rays have been deflected. You can see here this ray being deflected and the other one also deflected, and the another ray, it's deflected more. Okay, so if we observe the diagram, what do we see? Most of the alpha particles, they passed straight through the foil without any deflection from their path. A small fraction of them were deflected from their path. Okay, and only a few particles bounced back, like you can see here. Okay, so what were his conclusions? Most of the space in an atom was empty. Why? Because alpha particles went straight. There was a heavy positively charged mass in the atom, which caused deflection of a small fraction of alpha particles. And then the positively charged mass is very small. Why? Because only few particles bounced back. Okay, and it was named as the nucleus. You can see in the diagram, no? Only few alpha rays were bounced back. Okay, so this is Rutherford's experiment. Now, based on his model, what did he say? According to him, the centrally located nucleus, it is a centrally located positively charged mass. The entire mass of the atom is concentrated in it. It is the densest part of the atom. Why? Because only few rays were deflected back. The size of the nucleus is very small compared to the size of the atom as a whole. Okay, and then second postulate, the outer circular orbits. The electrons revolve in circular orbits called cells in the space available around the nucleus. And an atom is electrically neutral. That is, the number of protons and the number of electrons present in an atom are equal. And Rutherford's model is also compared with the solar system. Okay, you can see here the comparison of Rutherford's model with the solar system. Then there was a scientist called James Chadwick who discovered neutron, a particle which did not have any charge. Its mass was found to be equal to that of a proton, that is 1.672 into 10 to the power minus 24 gram. Okay, slightly more than the mass of a proton, and it was neutral without any charge. And atoms of same element may differ in the number of neutrons, leading for the formation of isotopes, to which will come later on. So you can see here this table. You are going to learn by heart this table. Electron, proton, neutron, their symbols are given, their charges are given, and then the atomic mass is given. From here you can conclude that electrons have negligible mass. You see 9.1 divided by 28 zeros. So you can imagine how small are there. And hydrogen is the only atom which has one proton and one electron but no neutron. Now, if we follow Rutherford's atomic model, we know that there is a force of attraction between oppositely charged particles. Okay, so there must be some force of attraction between the protons present within an atom and the electrons revolving around the nucleus. So what will happen, since the electrons are lighter, no, charged and in constant motion, what will happen is that they will gradually lose energy when they move towards the center of the atom, that is towards the nucleus, and eventually collapse in it. But we know that that is not true, as According to law of conservation of mass, no, mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. So Rutherford could not explain the stability of atom, which was explained by which scientist? Yes, by Niels Bohr. So what did he say? He said that the energy levels, the orbits, no, they are called as the energy cell or the energy levels. He said that the electrons orbit the nucleus, which was said by Rutherford as well. But what was added by Bohr? The orbits have specific size and energy. The energy is related to its size. The lowest energy is found in the smallest orbit. That means which is closest to the nucleus has the lowest energy, and the energy goes on increasing. And electrons can move between each cell while gaining or losing energy. For example, if an electron is here in the first cell, it can go to the second cell if it gains energy, and so on. So his postulates are: electrons orbit the nucleus in orbits that have specific size and energy. The energy of the orbit is related to its size. The lowest energy is found in the smallest orbit, and the electrons, they reside in orbits. They move between each cell when gaining or losing energy. When gaining energy, electrons move farther away from the nucleus. When losing energy, the electrons move closer to the orbit from the nucleus.